So the top deferred MBA programs here is a list. So the number one comes from Harvard Business School, +2+2 program. And then they actually had an info session in our office in January. And then so Stanford, of course, our neighbor, and then the GSB deferred enrollment program. And then UPenn, Wharton, they have a name of Molly's Advanced Access. MIT Sloan had a early admissions, and Columbia and University of Chicago and Northwestern Kellogg. So those are saying this is the magic seven, so the top seven MBA programs. And then those seven schools offer deferred programs pretty much the longest. And then Harvard, it's probably the longest if I remember correctly. And of course, from the eighth ranking, our own Berkeley Haas also have accelerated access program and originally started with only accepting applications from college students and then now expand to UC students. And I think right now it opens to all. And this year, UCLA has recently opened up their deferred enrollment programs. They are relatively later compared with peer schools. And of course, like UVA Darden also had a future year scholars program. And Yale has a Silver Scholar program. The reason why I put a little star next to it is because Yale's program is technically not a deferred program. It's you can go to their MBA program right after your undergrad. And then the program is technically 3 years. So your first year you will be studying at Yale, and then at the second year you will be doing full-time internship, and then the third year you come back to school to finish the degree. Okay. Yes. Okay. So there's a question. Yes. If you wanted to have access to today's recording, I'll make sure to follow up with you. And I know our guests, they probably would have a little concern about making the video public. So I normally tend to publish in my own YouTube channel with unlisted. So yeah, I'll follow up with you. Yes, slideshow, of course, would have open up access. Okay, great. So here, this is the list of the top MBA programs. So I know you have a degree at Cal, and then some of you may think, oh, I'll stay in California. There's only like 3 options basically. And then some of you think that, oh, okay, I'm going to a private school. Or some of you may think that, oh, I like to go to a school that has, let's say, okay, good finance programs. Or I just wanted to be in a very, smaller program, or like big programs like Harvard, Penn, they have very big programs. So I think it would, you wanted to do a little bit more research about, what are some of the highlights of those programs. So for example, like Harvard, their highlights, it's their case study, almost like 90, if not all, percent of the classes are held in a case method, which means like you do a lot of readings before the class, and then in the actual classroom, the professor would call students to answer questions, and there's less like lecture style teaching, and actually there's a lot of case study for other schools. They are written by Harvard professors. And then that's a Stanford, of course, like they are, very good at helping, like building an entrepreneurship ecosystem. And then, UPenn's Wharton, of course, one of the oldest business school, and then has a very good reputation in the finance industry, right? And then MIT, being kind of similar to UC Berkeley, also had a very strong, engineering school. So a lot of their tech and then entrepreneurship is there, sets MIT Sloan apart. And Columbia in New York, of course, it's still very professional services driven. Chicago Bulls being one of the kind of a very rigorous school, they really highlight like, quantitative skills. And Northwestern being, they are good at, very famous for their marketing. And then our Berkeley Haas, of course, like, a lot of like social impact focus, and being a Bay Area, you would have access to a lot of industries and particularly in tech. And then UCLA Anderson in LA like now have a rising tech vibe there, and also entertainment, real estate industries. Okay, so I think I would recommend when you are assessing which schools that you want to go, think about the class size. That would kind of define the culture, and then the location. Like oftentimes, of course, like MBA programs are recruiting is generally nationwide, but still, there are some local companies, or like what are the economic features in that area, and then of course like the teaching method that would kind of define probably like how workload would be, and how that would impact your academic life.